We'll discuss here reflections about the y-axis. Suppose that the graph of function g of x is given, and we want the graph of function f of x equals g of negative x. Notice how the function f of x is formed. It is formed by replacing x in g of x with negative x. This change will affect the domain of the function f. Suppose that the point AB is on the graph of function y equal g of x. That means that b is equal g of x. And now let's consider function g of negative x, or function f of x. Now if x is equal a, then y is equal g of negative a. And at this point I don't know whether g of negative a exists. So I don't know whether I have the point on the graph with x coordinate a. However, if I use x equals negative a, then y is going to be g of a, g of negative a, which is g of a, which is b. And that means that if the point AB here is on the graph of the function g of x, then the point negative a and b is going to be on the graph of function g of negative x. The points AB and negative AB are symmetric with respect to y-axis. So the graph of g of x and g of negative x are going to be symmetric with respect to y-axis. Therefore, to obtain the graph of g of negative x, we need to reflect the graph of g of x about the y-axis. Let's look at an example. We are to sketch the graph of the function square root of negative x. We can think about this function as the function g of negative x, where g of x is square root of x. The graph of function g of x, or square root of x, is given in the coordinate system, and again this is one of those basic functions. So how do we perform the reflection? We look at that relationship. If the point a, b is on the graph of g of x, that point negative a, b is on the graph of g of negative x. So what happens that we keep this time y coordinate unchanged, and we replace x coordinate with its opposite. So where will the point 0, 0 go? Well, the y coordinate stays unchanged, so if this was the point 0, 0 on the original graph, the point on the graph of g of negative x will be negative 0 and 0, which is still 0, 0. Because y-axis is axis of symmetry, points on that y-axis will not change its position. So point 0, 0 stays where it was. What will happen to the point 1 and 1? This point will transform to the point minus 1 and 1. Y-coordinate is unchanged and the x-coordinate is changed to the opposite. And the same way point 4, 2 is going to change to the point 4 and to the point negative 4 and 2 somewhere here. And the graph again will look like this, and it's going to be symmetric image of the graph of the square root of x. This is the graph of y equals square root of negative x. You can see how the domain of that function changed. Domain of the original function was the set of all x's that are positive or 0. The domain of my function square root of negative x is the set of all x's that are less or equal 0.